Um, Now, did I visit other townships? Yes, I did visit Sechejo in Limpopo. I visited Grasmeer next to Ennerdale.
That's where I stay, really.
That's where I slept in a shack.
Oh my god. So you went to who did you go to exactly?
Yeah, his name is Tsetan. Otan.
Oh, he's a rap artist,
Yeah,
right? Motswak or something.
I don't know, but he was all about.
Hi everyone, welcome to the universe. My name is Hendrik Ledoba. Another Monday, another great episode in store for you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe at Ghetto Universe Media on all social media platforms. Before I can get into it, I just want to start by saying thank you so much for choosing us and thank you so much for being part of the family. We appreciate you and we appreciate the love and support. Today I'm joined by a very special brother. He comes all the way from Belgium. His name is Jean-Nicolas. He is here to tell us more about his work and the reason why as to he decided to visit us in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Jean-Nicolas. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you, Hendrik.
Good.
Yes, thanks.
So as I was preparing for this session, it was difficult for me to find any type of information about you and your work, and I was scratching my head even last night asking myself as to how am I going to pull this one off. But before we can get into everything, I just want to know how has it been for you in South Africa so far, your experience?
Well, first, thanks for the interview and your time.
Pleasure.
How has my experience been in South Africa? For the moment, I'd say a unforgettable experience. An experience where I've built a network of people from various backgrounds, um, professionals, students, academics. I've been able to do many things in South Africa, which I'm pretty sure not every Belgian has a chance to do. So for the moment, really grateful about my experience, about all the people I've been meeting so far. But I'm sure we can deep dive in some of those details later on in the interview.
Sure. I used to see you around at MI, but the most curious thing about you is the mere fact that everyone almost wanted to be around you. I remember the days of Vincent Sekitemo, I don't know if you remember him.
Yes.
Sia, Tabete, Muso, Eddie.
Yes.
So is it your effect that you have on people, or people are just drawn towards you?
Well, maybe we start from the beginning. I had the chance to volunteer here in 2018, September 2018, in the business development department. And the first weeks, I was just working alone on my side and wasn't that much in contact with the students. And then, at MI you have those meditation sessions,
Sure.
and I was literally thrown with students, and that's where I say the magic started to happen, where I got to meet plenty of new people from various backgrounds, and so that's, I think, also the reason why I started to be very close of some of the students, and how I built also my network in South Africa. As meditation is men and women are not in the same room,
Yes,
I have to admit that most of the people I know in South Africa are men rather than women. But
That's a good thing. You are safe.
But yeah,
Sure.
I've been meeting also a couple of very interesting women of MI, etc. lately. So yeah.
Are you still single? Because the last time I checked, you were single for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, somewhere there.
4.
Oh my god. So you're not looking, or
I am. You need just to find the right person.
Okay, and then what are some of the attributes that you're looking for in a partner?
I'd say someone, well, first that shares my values. Someone that is a bit adventurous. You know, if you'd like to go, for instance, to South Africa to be in a township, you're someone that likes to take a bit of risks, but it needs to be measured in some kind of way. I'm looking for someone also with whom I can have. Also, I'm someone very intellectual. I'm a very rational person, so I'd like also someone that understands this. And then also, it needs to be a beautiful woman.
Obviously.
Yes.
Physique.
Yes.
Physique. In terms of the shape.
Slim.
Not slim.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I know it's not your first time in South Africa, right? Through the number of years that you've been here, what has been some of the interesting activities? Because I know that the crew that you're surrounded by, they're very open-minded people, young, very wild as well, the likes of Kylie.
Well, I'd say the most interesting experiences, and we can get into the details after. The first one I'm thinking of is I got, let's say, not the chance, the opportunity to sleep one night in a shack of one of the students of the mine. Some people ask me, Jean-Nicolas, how was it to sleep in a shack? It's not a question to which you will answer, it was good, because it's not a good experience to sleep in a shack. Although I was really welcomed by someone to be with him for that night. But at least I have a very good idea of what it's like to live in a very poor township, to live in a shack where during the night, I remember you hear babies crying, you hear people screaming, it's not very safe. So I can more or less understand what it feels like to be in a shack during the night. A second experience is while we were still fine-tuning the business model of the non-profit, which we'll be, I think, discussing in a moment. We were meeting with several schools, and we wanted to target some schools in very rural areas, and we had the chance to visit 2 schools in Segunda. And what was, I'd say, it was a very emotional moment, because you realize that most non-profits, they stay around big cities, like Johannesburg, like Cape Town, and they stay for mostly operational and marketing related reasons, I believe, around big cities. But not many are doing the step further to go to more rural areas and meeting a school director telling us that it's the first time they see a non-profit interested to do maybe something with their school, and that I'd say they were very grateful. They had never seen this before, so I'd say that was a very emotional moment, which I will definitely remember. And then a last one, maybe a more funny one. I've never been arrested by police or whatsoever, but I've already had the chance to go in a police car in South Africa after having watched a soccer game at the FNB stadium. We were a bit lost when the soccer game ended. It's a very dodgy area during the night. We had to cross a highway because the road going under the highway, there were people which were, I think they didn't have good intentions. So me and my friend said, okay, let's just cross the highway. There were not many cars, so it was okay to cross the highway, which I've never done before as well. And then our Uber was a kilometer away. We were going to our Uber. We took the ramp from the highway to the street leading to our Uber. We had 1 kilometer walking left. And then we saw very dodgy people still on the street. And I was there, Jesus, it's the end. They steal my wallet, my phone. I'm gonna be left over with nothing. And then suddenly a police car arrives next to us. I see the window going down and the policeman asking us, guys, are you crazy? What's happening? What are you doing here? And then I tell immediately the policeman, yeah, please help us. Our Uber is a kilometer away. Can you please help us out? And the policeman asks me, can I get your phone? I give the policeman my phone. And then he drives away with my phone. And I was there. I was not realizing what was happening. But then the car reversed. He passed by next to us, stopped. And then the policeman told us, not all cops are corrupt. Get in the car and then we'll drop you off. And I was not 100% realizing what was happening, but we ended in safe hands next to our Uber. So, but I've heard from friends that FNB Stadium, you rather have your way back well planned, otherwise it can not end in the right way.
Which team was playing when you were there?
It was the Soweto Derby.
Oh, okay. Chiefs and Pirates.
Yes. I'm not sure who was winning.
But you don't support any of those two?
No.
You're not into
It's a very controversial topic.
You're not into football?
Not that much. Only when Belgium is playing.
Yeah,
the best team of the world.
Because for me to know more about your country, Belgium, I think it was because of soccer.
Yes.
The likes of Eden Hazard,
yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne,
yeah.
even the national coach of South Africa now.
Is Belgian.
Exactly.
But,
Hugo Broos is from Belgium.
But here, two fun facts actually is, I realized by traveling to, for instance, a country like South Africa, what people know about Belgium is the soccer team and basically nothing else.
Because you're a soccer-loving nation. You're a soccer-loving nation.
But then when you told me that the trainer of the South African team is a Belgian, I was never aware of it, and I asked a couple of people in Belgium, they were not aware of it as well. So
you guys are ignored when it comes to football.
No, I think we are strong supporters of our country. Then you have also, I'm not a specialist, but I think the league level, they're also, but yeah, I'd say
Club
not
Brugge,
as much. Yes, Anderlecht, Standard. They, I really feel that South Africans are much more passionate about soccer than Belgians. Yes. But I'm not saying that Belgians are not. I just say here it's much more. It's a level up.
Sure. Yeah. To the project that you're doing, which I think it's quite great. Especially one thing that I love about you guys and the work that you do is the mere fact that you work with high school kids and you are helping them in terms of starting businesses, right? So the name of is it an NPO or?
NPC, non-profit company.
Oh, NPC, which is
Izimanga, zeAfrica. Yes. Wonders of Africa.
Izimanga, zeAfrica. Yes. Yeah, tell us more about that.
Yes. Really, so the goal of that non-profit is to organize a mentorship program for young entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Indeed, some are from high school, some are already at university, some are already into their business. And our idea is really to create a community of young, motivated entrepreneurs. Well, I realize I'm from Belgium, and I see really here that those young entrepreneurs don't have access to the same set of tools, skills that someone that would start a business in Belgium would have. So there is really a gap that we aim to close through a mentorship program. On the mentorship program, we are starting this year. How will it take place? We'll be linking those mentees with a mentor. Some mentors will be based in South Africa, some will be based in Belgium. We are gonna also test on our side what's working best to see what has the most impact for entrepreneurs in South Africa. Next to it, we'll also create a group where people will be able, those young entrepreneurs will be able to interact together, to whom we'll be also sharing also knowledge, information about maybe events, courses that they can take to improve their skills. To make the program as holistic as possible, it's very important that we make it also a practical program. So our aim is to organize at least a yearly summit event where those young entrepreneurs can visit a company, for instance, a medium-sized business, for instance, producing cookies or manufacturing, I don't know, some kind of component. that's the first add-on which we really like to add in a year from now. And if everything is successful and turns out well, the idea is to also to have a adventure and leadership camp, which would be organized in 2 to 3 years from now. An idea is to expose those entrepreneurs to nature, to have them travel through South Africa, to really see what are really opportunities in South Africa. I think it's very important that you also get to understand well your country when you are an entrepreneur. And next to those, I'd say, more adventurous experiences, also visit some businesses, have some inspiring speakers that could also join. But I say that's we are building our program with a set of milestones. We want to make sure first that the mentorship program we are launching this year has an impact on the mentees, that the program can grow organically. That's very key. And then we'll start scaling up with those add-ons, which are key to make the program as holistic and practical as possible for the mentees. And that's it. I'd say to reach a positive impact on those young entrepreneurs.
So, what's the selection criteria? If someone they have an interest in maybe pitching their business idea, or maybe they just have an existing business, they need to grow the business, maybe they need help with funding or finances, what's the criteria that you're looking for people who can be part of your mentorship program?
So I'd say the criteria we are looking for is not really per se the business itself, as we can always find mentors that are more adapted to the person. So it can be someone that starts his business, it can be someone that has already a business. We are looking really for small businesses, really in that kind of category. In terms of age, we are really looking at young people. For instance, we had today people pitching that were 15 years old, somewhere around 24, in that range, 21. So that's, I'd say that's a range, I'd say below 30. What is important is that we are also looking at someone with a stable life, so someone residing in South Africa for at least 5 years. So that's important as well. But in terms of content, I'd say the selection criteria is you need to first write us an online motivation letter. And then there's a pitching event, which we had earlier today. If you can join, send us a video. If you can join, you will be presenting in front of a jury. But yeah, the idea is to have a fair selection process for everyone. And whatever your stage, everyone is very different. You have so many different businesses pitching today. So we are very open at the type of business. And then the mentor will guide the mentor to make sure that the advice that he or she will be giving to the young entrepreneur will be as specific as possible and as impactful as possible.
Let's say 10, 15 years from now, what would be the ideal end goal for you guys? Because now you are also working with Belgium, right? You're also pushing the same program in Belgium.
Actually, not really. So I'd say the link with Belgium is mostly, first, I'm from Belgium. One of the other directors is from Belgium as well. Belgium will play a key role in, say, helping us for the finances of the non-profit. So, for instance, we are really looking at companies that have both a foot in Belgium and in South Africa to help us further grow the project. But we are not implementing the project in Belgium, although it could be something in the next years. But ideally, in the next 10 or 15 years, what we aim to have is a fully functional mentorship program where we learn from what we'll be doing in the next years. Ideally, not only focused for the area around Johannesburg, but also targeting the more rural areas we were talking earlier. Maybe not only South Africa, but maybe another African country could come into play. But as I discussed with some of the members of the jury today, we need to make sure that we can run that non-profit in the short term. We need to have that end vision, which is key.
Sure.
But let's make sure that what you have in mind now works. And then your ideas that you have, let's step by step implement them and grow organically. I'd say that's key. But we have a vision for the next, at least the next 5 years. We have a good vision on how the program will be. And if everything is successful, we'll be hiring also the first people that can work on it. But subject to obviously financing and having a positive a program with a positive impact on the entrepreneurs.
I love the fact that, especially in South Africa, because you do know that as we speak now, the unemployment rate is skyrocketing. What you said, especially earlier on, I love the fact that you are doing things practical, you know.
Yeah.
It's not, even though you do have a vision and an end goal, but you are doing something now. You are helping people now, you know, and they will grow, and they are young, you know, like 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
And there's mentoring, you know, the lady was speaking about agriculture, and George is also into agri. Imagine if you link them together. That lady, probably when she's like 25, she will be having more experience.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's something that it's ongoing. It's not something that whereby you still want to do things in the near future. So I love that about the work that you do, because we hardly have people that do things practical. So where to from here now, since you spoke about working with also expanding to other African countries?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't have a specific country in mind, but in fact, to start in another country, you need to have a link. At least you need to know someone in that country. You cannot just enter a random country like this. It needs to be really a well-thought process. I'll be honest, I haven't thought of a specific country, just something I have in mind. It's not something I'm going to do, honestly, in the next 2-3 years, for sure. But when time will come, it will be something we'll really think about and find the best way to do so. But what is key is to find a country where you can actually develop, where there is a kind of market, because in fact a non-profit it's a very different business, but it's a business where you need to help people. But in our case, we are looking for entrepreneurs, so you need to have a country where you have a strong entrepreneurial mindset, like for instance in South Africa. You also need to look at a country where there are really strong needs for people to help them to gain skills, etc. So maybe look at countries where also having high unemployment rates, like South Africa, would be key to maximize the impact. But to be thought in 3 to 3 years, 4 years maybe, if everything goes well.
But I'm curious to find out what attracted you to South Africa. You know, I'm always curious as to how people in other countries perceive South Africa, because in most cases, when something comes from Europe, most of the time they would want to start in South Africa. So the perspective that you guys have of our country in Belgium, or what brought you here, what made you to be attracted to this country?
I take 2 things here. Why did I come to South Africa? By chance. There's no other words. When I finished my studies, I wanted to volunteer before I started working. And I was granted 2 opportunities. One in Myanmar, so it's an Asian country not far from Thailand, where I would volunteer in a primary school. And then the other opportunity was to go volunteer at the Maharishi Institute. And I thought about it. And at the Maharishi Institute, I would be with people that have more or less my age, and discussing with different people that opened me those doors. I quickly realized that here would be the best way to start volunteering. And so that's how I arrived in South Africa in 2018. And I can tell you, going back was a very, was very emotional, because I got so many friends. And you leave a country, I'm not sure when you are coming back. I came back 6 months later because I fell in love with the country. So in a nutshell, that's the story of how I came to South Africa. Now, on the second question, you asked me how do people perceive South Africa. I'd say, well, everyone has a different perspective of the country. South Africa, I think, for the common Belgian, sounds a bit like a country where you will do safaris and visit Table Mountain in Cape Town. but I'm not sure people are. There are a couple of people, obviously, that have been meeting in Belgium that know a lot about South Africa. I'd say, in full transparency and honesty, now with the economic turmoil in South Africa, the recent events, the load shedding, this is obviously also sometimes in the news in Belgium. But really, so if you have someone reading a lot the news, he or she would be aware that the situation in South Africa is not as good as it was, for instance, during the World Cup. But I would think that most people still think about South Africa as an amazing country to do safaris and to visit, to do walks, to do I think it's the wine route from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth. And if you dig deeper, you're aware that there are some challenges. To where there are challenges, I'd say there are opportunities as well to do something. So, yeah.
That is so true. And then, have you been to any townships? Because I know, like you guys in most cases, probably you are obsessed with your Soweto, Mandela House, Villas, streets. You know, have you?
So, I actually did visit indeed Soweto and Vilakazi Street.
I knew it.
But I actually visited it with South Africans, so with people I worked here at the Maharishi Institute.
Sure.
Now, did I visit other townships? Yes, I did visit Seshego in Limpopo.
Okay.
I visited Grasmeer, next to Ennerdale.
That's where I stay, really.
That's where I slept in a shack.
Oh my god. So you went to who did you go to exactly?
Yeah, his name is Tsepan.
Oh, he's a rap artist.
Yeah,
right, Mutswak or something.
I don't know, but he was all about writing a book about his life.
Yes, I know him.
And then
so
I think he dropped out of a line.
Yes. I used to travel with him. I know him.
Yeah.
I know him.
I always remember the place where I think it's Phillips Street, the main street of
town.
Yes.
Have you been to Kanye's neighborhood, Davidson?
Not yet. But another township I've been to is Mbalenghi. It's a township of Segunda.
Mm-hmm.
It's a township next to the Segunda Sasol power plant, which is, I'm working in sustainability, so climate change and those things are topics which are close to my heart. And you have a really big Sasol power plant next to Mbalenghi, next to Segunda. And I've always been very attracted by what was this site, and doing some research, I actually realized that this was the single largest source of CO2 emissions in the world, lying in Segunda. So that's, I'd say, also from a climate change perspective, I found this really interesting. I shared this with many colleagues who were totally unaware of this. So I'm also always learning many things by visiting townships. But I realize how life is also hard in these townships, because it's true not every township is the same, but you see in the end the same kind of poverty. You see that the streets are not well maintained. You see that not everyone has electricity, not everyone has water, running water at home. So you see still that a high level of poverty, and those townships are often really, really big. But when you meet people, you see in the end that those are in fact kind people that just want to live a normal life, like everyone, that want to grow. And nearly all experiences I've had in townships were always really great experiences with people, happy to meet me, happy to share their lives, and very open people.
We are very kind of people by nature. We are closing now. Any possibilities of relocating to South Africa? Because you are always traveling. Next week you're going back to Belgium.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
And then you're gonna come back again. So is there any possibility of you coming this side for good, maybe?
I can't answer this question, unfortunately. Depends on too many factors.
But at least you know.
Work, girlfriends.
But you're not married. So.
No. Social. Also, I have many friends in Belgium. So it's a decision that I wouldn't take in a snapshot.
Sure.
It can be considered if in the end also, I have that non-profit, but next to that non-profit I have work. And it's very important that I have a stable work next to where I do. So if I'm going to South Africa, obviously there needs to be a stable source of income that I have had, just not a decision I can take in a snapshot. So it needs to be well thought as well. I'm not saying no, as you have seen.
No,
but I'm not saying
you're making sense. You're making, because you have different dynamics that you need to consider and look into before making any final decisions. Yeah, so it makes sense.
And what I'll maybe end with is, what I like about South Africa. Maybe I like South Africa because I'm not there all year round, and during the 2-3 weeks I'm here, I'm really enjoying it as much as I can. And if you have something that you love and you are all year round, for instance, let's say I'm loving South Africa and I'm all year round in South Africa, I'm not sure if I really like the country as well. I'm just saying this as a thought.
Absence
could be.
Makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes.
That's what they say. Thank you so much for coming through.
Pleasure.
So I wish you nothing but the best in everything that you do. And yeah, hopefully 5-10 years from now, I'll see your organization rather growing and helping more people around South Africa.
Yes, hope so too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That was the Monday edition of Influential Mondays with myself, Hendrik Lidwawa. Until the next episode, stay blessed. I'm out. Bye-bye.
Still smiling.